What is going on, everybody? King John here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to talk about something that I've seen a lot of, I wouldn't say discourse, but a lot of discussion on Twitter. A lot of people seem to be discussing fighting games being mainstream. And by mainstream, we're talking about like the main overall general audience of things, like the casual guy, not the hardcore fan. In layman's terms, is basically how can we get a fighting game to appeal to the mass general casual audience. And this made me think about it a lot, and I came up with a couple things, and I thought, hey, I can make a video out of this and see what other people think. But before we get into that, guys, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 500 subscribers. It only takes 2 seconds, and you can even change your mind if you don't like the video, so it's completely risk-free on your part. But with that out of the way, I want to get this discussion started. So in my opinion, there's about 5 to 6 things that every fighting game needs to do in order to break into the mainstream and get that notoriety. And the first and most obvious one is to have amazing graphics and presentation. Now, in my opinion, the two biggest examples of having amazing graphics and presentation are going to be NRS and Arc System Works. So games like MK11 and Guilty Gear Strive are two amazing examples of games that look incredible, have amazing presentation, cool looking supers, etc. To go more in depth of what I mean, in order for a fighting game to catch that good first impression, it needs to have incredibly good graphics. Probably hyper realistic is what the more casual audience is looking for, like MK11. But even a game like Guilty Gear Strive, most of the casual audience is going to look at that game and say, wow, that looks cool. It could be hyper realistic graphics and a very good art style, incredibly cinematic supers, flashy combos, just tons and tons of hit effects. All these things go miles and miles for the casual audience, because that's what they're mostly paying attention to, is how the game looks. Like, for example, in Guilty Gear Strive, the whole counter thing where the game slows down, all the particles go flying, everything like that, that entire gimmick was made for the casual audience, because it's a big impact move. It's a big impact moment that a lot of people are going to pay attention to. I feel like this is a lot easier said than done. You know, a lot of these companies don't have tons and tons of budget to do these things. Like, ain't no company have that NRS budget, baby. But honestly, this is what really goes far into the mainstream, and this is the most obvious thing, having those incredible graphics and presentation, not even just in the gameplay, the menus, the online lobbies, etc. So for me, I feel like this is a must. The number 2 thing I feel like every fighting game needs to have is good netcode. I feel like this is obvious, especially for the mid to high level players. Having good netcode is a must nowadays in order to compete, especially in the situation that we're in with the pandemic. We are constantly playing online every day in these online tournaments. Offline tournaments are slowly coming back, but for the foreseeable future, online current tournaments are going to be the standard for now. So having online netcode is a must. Having good rollback is a must, so that Killer Instinct, MBCI, Guilty Gear Strive rollback, and not that Street Fighter 5 rollback type situation. And even for the casual mainstream audience, having good netcode is gonna be a must, because most people aren't gonna have an Ethernet cable, right? So they're probably gonna play on Wi-Fi. So I'm not saying play on Wi-Fi, but a lot of people aren't gonna bother getting an Ethernet cable, so having good netcode is just gonna go an extra mile. Honestly, not even the greatest of netcodes are gonna fix playing on Wi-Fi, but they can at least mitigate it to be somewhat playable at least. But yeah, side note, if you're gonna play fighting games, please get an Ethernet cable. It's a must. Please get a cord. But having that good netcode is gonna go miles and miles for the high level players, for the mid level players, and even the low level players. It's gonna be an overall positive experience for everybody. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't. I'm pretty sure with the overwhelming success of Guilty Gear Strive, the message is loud and clear that people want rollback netcode, good rollback netcode, in order to have a successful fighting game nowadays. It's pretty evident that the companies have heard this loud and clear, because KOF is having rollback netcode, Melty Blood is gonna have rollback netcode. I'm pretty sure DNF Duel is gonna have rollback netcode, because that's the Arc System Works game. And I'm pretty sure every single Arc System Works game from now on is gonna have that Guilty Gear Strive netcode. I don't think it matters if they're the publisher or the developer or both. I'm pretty sure they're gonna have that going forward, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna be, you know, held in higher regard, and they're gonna pay, you know, ask for more money, because they got this world-renowned online netcode. And number 3 on the list is, it's so obvious. It is so obvious, but I don't feel like enough companies do this, and that is having a robust single player experience. I feel like NRS does this amazingly. I don't need to point out the obvious. NRS has an insane budget to do these things. Not every company has that budget, but obviously NRS has like arcade mode with endings for every single character. They have an insanely good story mode with a cinematic story mode that looks like a movie that you can play. They have towers. They have all these things. Oh my god, insane amount of single player content on the NRS side. But even then, lower tier fighting games, like let's say Arc System Works game, Capcom games, or whatever, feels like in order to really grab that casual audience, you need to have single player content. You need to have a good story mode that is cinematic and you can play. I know Guilty Gear Strive has a story mode and a pretty good one. However, you don't play any fights like at all. You're basically just watching like a 6 to 7 hour anime, and that's cool, but most people aren't gonna sit there and watch a 6 to 7 hour anime. You feel me? They want to interact. They want to feel like they're part of the story. And honestly, a lot of parts in the Guilty Gear Strive story mode feels like you should be able to play it in a fight, but instead you have these animated fights, and while I'm watching this, I'm thinking I should be playing out this fight. Why am I just watching it? This is like a golden opportunity to put in a gameplay segment. So I feel like Guilty Gear Strive story mode hits on the cinematic aspect, but it very, very, very hard misses on the gameplay aspect and the interactivity. Again, NRS does this amazingly. You get cinematics, you get gameplay, etc., etc. Moving on from the story mode, you could also get arcade mode. It's crazy how many games don't have arcade modes. BB Tag, Blaze Blue, Cross Tag Battle doesn't have an arcade mode at all. Grand Blue has an arcade mode, but it's pretty bare bones. You don't really do anything. You just fight, and don't really... You fight a boss, but you don't really get an ending. You just get art, which is fine, but it's so much better to have an ending for that character that you just beat arcade mode with. It makes you feel rewarded for going through that single player experience and have a conclusion. It also motivates some people to collect and see all the endings for every character, because honestly, if you go through a 7 to 8 battle arcade mode and it ends in just game over or thanks for playing or just an artwork, it's gonna be kind of underwhelming. You're probably gonna end up saying like that's it, and more than likely you're probably never ever gonna touch that game mode ever again. So in my mind, in order to really, and I really stress this a lot, to really go and break into the mainstream and really grab a lot of a big casual audience, single player is a must. Have towers, have arcade modes with ending, and have a single player experience that have both the cinematic and the gameplay aspect. This is easier said than done. Like I said, not every company has the NRS budget, but this goes far and beyond with the casual audience. This is probably the most important thing on this list, in my opinion, is to have single player content. Number 4, we're gonna go with a good, diverse, well-designed roster with cool and appealing characters. Now let's be honest, a lot of us play fighting games for the characters, especially if the IP comes from a fighting game and doesn't come from a third party, like Guilty Gear, Blaze Blue, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. Their IP is a fighting game. You must have cool looking, well-designed characters in order to have a successful fighting game, because the characters make the fighting game. The character is who you connect to. The character is who you spend hundreds of hours, training and bonding with. You need to have a well-designed, diverse roster in order to appeal to everybody. Oh, you like grapplers? Here's a cool-looking grappler. You like dodos, cute waifus, husbandos, whatever you're into. I feel like a roster needs to appeal to a little bit of everything. And I don't mean solely in the design aspect. I also mean in the gameplay aspect. Obviously, you must have like grappler and a zoner in every roster, but I mean like, okay, this guy is a ninja archetype. This guy is a shoto. This guy is a grappler. This person does this. This person does that. Every character needs to feel different, not samey. Having a samey roster is gonna get really old really fast. And I see a lot of the older games, like especially the arena fighters, like market that they have an insanely big roster, 80 post characters, 90 post characters, whatever. And then you look at the roster and it's pretty much just the same character copy pasted 20 times with just different skins on. And that's a big turn off for me, having an insanely big roster, but at the same time they're all pretty much the same character. It's cool to have a smaller roster, but have every character feel unique, feel well designed, like they put love into it, different movesets, different playstyles, different everything. No two characters should feel the same. Every character should appeal to a different archetype and playstyle, while also having a cool design, a cool theme around. And I feel like this is also very important because a lot of people that play fighting games, they gravitate to these characters. They bond with these characters. So I feel like having a diverse, cool, appealing roster is a must. And that's not really something that can be restricted by budget. I feel like that's a creativity thing or a vision type thing. Like you have games like Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue that have awesome looking characters, have a million belts on, and have these crazy looking things. And you also have more simple looking characters like in Melty Blood which isn't a shot, by the way. Their characters look more simple, look more cleaner, and they're more down to earth, except the more recently revealed ones, which are they're amping it up in the crazy department. Or you could have a game like Street Fighter that has a little bit of both. No, you could do a lot. If you don't have the single player experience, but you have a good roster, I feel like that's also something that can grab a lot of people. And last but not least, we're gonna go with something that no fighting game is doing nowadays. And I mean not a single fighting game is doing nowadays. And that is having a game that puts you in matches quickly and fast and works. God damn it. I need one of you to name me a fighting game that came out in the last 5 years that you can just hop on and play and just play matches quick like this. Just easy. Just press a button, hop on a match, play. You're done, play the next match. You're done with that match, play the next match. No waiting, no loading. You're just instant matchmaking, boom, 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 boom. I feel like that is so important because a lot of people don't really want to wait in between loading screens or training modes. They just want to play. Either give somebody an infinite rematch feature or just start looking for the person once the match is near completion. I feel like a lot of people, high level, mid level, low level, casual, pro, whatever, would love this. Just being able to hop on, press a play now, and just hop on a match just like that, the snap of a finger. This would be huge, man. I'm telling you, this would be huge for every fighting game. A lot of fighting games nowadays, you gotta navigate a million menus, go to online, go to lobby, go to East Coast, go to East Coast Park 47, hop on East Coast Park 47, and then you can start looking for people. Or you gotta go online, click casual match, go on casual match, go to training mode, and then start looking for somebody. And it feels like in every single game, you have to navigate a million menus just to hop on and play. And that turns off a lot of people. If you're not doing this as a competitor, you're probably gonna get really tired of this really fast. A lot of these people are gonna get confused by your menus and you're gonna get confused by your systems and online features. I feel like just having simple, to the point, play now and just get matched up with somebody around your skill level. Obviously, you don't want to get matched up with like a rookie versus a pro level player. That's just not it. Just a simple play now button, hop online, easy, quick, fast matchmaking, boom, boom, boom. That is gonna go. That would be huge for any fighting. How about instead of redoing and redesigning your lobby system for no reason, guilty your strive, how about you put that time and money into making your game functional? Ever thought of that one, boys? I also thought of a few bonus points to add to the very end of this video and go over it really quickly. Quick bonus point number 1 is going to be having a meaningful ranking system. A lot of the lower level players don't really care, but this would be more for the higher level to mid level players. Having a meaningful rank system would be huge. It would be something to grind for, something to motivate yourself for, something to fight for. Because recently in these fighting games, the ranking system, to be honest with you, is garbage. It doesn't mean anything. Like getting to Celestium Guilty Gear Strive is fucking easy. It's not that hard. Especially when you can pick and choose who you fight. That is not it. You can literally duck the higher level players and just snipe the lower level players that are trying to get to VIP just like you, and you can get to Celestial just like that. It's just really flawed, man. And once you get to Celestial, there's no higher tier, there's no like higher echelon that you can reach for the really good players to reach. It's just like you get to Celestial, you're done. You're the highest rank, congratulations. It's just not it. I wish there was a higher tier that you could get to, or make the restrictions tighter so only the really good players can get to Celestial, or make it matchmaking only and make it anonymous so you don't see who you're going up against, so you don't have to pick and choose who you fight just to make your way there. And also, people rage quitting in ranked matches is just not it. If you rage quit, you should just get a loss automatically. Obviously, enforcing something like that is easier said than done, because people could honestly have their game crashes, people could genuinely have their internet crash or something like that, and that would be really hard to do, and it's easier said than done, I understand that, but honestly, it's something that needs to be done. This, boys, is a one-way ticket to having a successful fighting game, and that's making a fighting game that comes from a successful, well-established IP, like Dragon Ball FighterZ. Dragon Ball FighterZ is massive just for the fact that it's Dragon Ball. Let's be honest, guys. Let's be completely plain black and white honest right now. If we were to copy and paste Dragon Ball FighterZ mechanics and gameplay and put it into something like Under Night or Nitro Blasters or some shit, or any other IP that is nowhere near as big as Dragon Ball, do you really honestly think that it would be just as massive as Dragon Ball FighterZ is today? No. And if you answered yes, you're insane. Dragon Ball FighterZ isn't massive and successful because it's a good fighting fighting game, which is it is a pretty good fighting game, I won't lie, but it's because it's Dragon Ball. It's a massive IP. It has massive mainstream notoriety. It's very well established, and that's why Dragon Ball FighterZ is such a success. It's because it's Dragon Ball and it's well made. I'm not gonna sit here and say that it's not a good, well made fighting game by Arc System, but most of the weight is carried by the fact that it's a Dragon Ball game. So if you give me a fighting game that's I don't know, Final Fantasy fighting game, My Hero Academia, whatever, anything that's super mainstream right now, you will get success, period. It obviously has to be well made to have longevity, but if you're looking just to make good sales, get Arc System to do a Naruto or a My Hero fighting game, and boom, you got a success. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much going to be it for me today. Let me know what you guys think and a fighting game needs to have in order to break into the mainstream audience in the comment section down below. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.